Hello there, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for one of our AT&T focused webinars. I'm Sam, and I will be your moderator throughout this presentation. In just a second, we're going to be joined by Tyson Mavar. Tyson is one of our senior financial advisors, and he's going to be covering all of the key factors you should be considering when deciding whether to take your AT&T pension as a lump sum or as an annuity. There are many factors that go into that decision, and he is going to be covering those to help you decide. Before he comes on, I'd like to just quickly remind you that we are not affiliated nor endorsed whatsoever by AT&T. We are a completely independent group of financial advisors. Please keep that in mind as you're listening along with Tyson. After his presentation has ended, I will rejoin Tyson very quickly to ask him some of the questions that have come through either the Q&A box or some of the questions we've just received lately from other AT&T employees. If you find you have a question, please feel free to ask away in the Q&A box. It's completely anonymous. We try to answer as many as we can with you on the webinar, and if not, I will make sure to personally hand these off to an advisor to address with you either over the phone or through an email. You will not go unaddressed, I promise you. And with that, I'm going to now turn the presentation over to Tyson. Hi, Tyson.
Thank you, Sam. Hi, folks. Appreciate you joining our webinar series this afternoon. My name is Tyson Mavar, one of the AT&T focused retirement advisors here at the Retirement Group. And today's presentation, we're going to be covering my favorite subject, as it is probably one of the biggest questions and concerns that we hear from our clients from AT&T as they approach retirement, which is how to take the pension and what are the different options that AT&T offers as benefit payouts for AT&T employees when they leave the company and decide to turn their pension into income in retirement. There's a lot of factors to consider on this, but the first thing that you want to make sure that you are aware of is that AT&T considers age 65 as the normal retirement age. Now, that doesn't mean you cannot work past age 65, but it does mean a couple of important things. The most important thing is that if you are still working after age 65, you do not have the option to defer the election of your pension. You have to commence your pension at the earliest available commencement date. Now, for some people, that's the day after your retirement date. For other people, Legacy T employees, for example, that would be the first of the month after your retirement date. Those of you who do retire prior to age 65, however, will have an option and maybe an argument to defer the election of your pension. We'll talk about one of the examples of why that could make sense in just a moment here. So keep that in mind. The commencement date is important, and it's different than your retirement date. Sometimes it can be the day after your retirement. In many cases, it's going to be the first day of the month after you retire, or the first day of the month sometime in the future beyond your retirement date. Now, there's many different pension options. The lump sum has been very popular for some time, as interest rates have been very low for some time. And even as interest rates have come up in the last 2 years, we still see many employees taking their pension as a lump sum for a variety of reasons. But it's not the only option, and it's important to consider all of these different options depending on a variety of variables and issues with your circumstances. The single life annuity is a very popular option for unmarried individuals. Joint survivor annuity option is a popular option for married individuals, but not necessarily having to be married to take this option. And we want to talk about the look back period as it pertains to the lump sum payout and interest rate. So we'll get into that a little bit today as well. Now, for those of you that are not interested in taking your pension as a lump sum, you might want to consider the single life annuity. This is the largest of the annuity payout options available, and it's a lifetime payment for one individual only. The way that they calculate this, in fact, this is the default payment option for many of the pension plans, and the company actually has to go in and convert the annuity into a lump sum using things like your life expectancy and current interest rates. They'll also use the life expectancy of your joint annuitant to convert the single life annuity into a joint annuity. So, for instance, if you have a younger spouse, that's going to cost you on your joint annuity payout because the life expectancy is longer, the joint life expectancy for younger individuals. And The single life annuity is going to be a monthly paycheck for the rest of your life. And once you pass away, those benefits stop. There's no death benefit on this single life annuity. Joint survivor annuity, there's actually a variety of sub options within this, depending on which plan you're on. The 100% joint survivor annuity, the 75%, the 50% are very common on different plans. And even Bell South Heritage employees have a 25% joint annuity. What that refers to is the percentage of your paycheck that your joint annuitant will receive after your lifetime, assuming you predecease your joint annuitant. So for instance, the 100% joint annuity, that's going to be the smallest paycheck for your lifetime, but the largest for your joint annuitant's lifetime. And the lower that percentage, the higher your payout as the AT&T retiree will be, but the lower the payout will be for your spouse or for your joint annuitant. Now, we talk about this look back period because of its importance in picking your retirement date and picking your benefit commencement date. The company is going to use interest rates to calculate your lump sum. We'll go over what those are. It's actually 3 different interest rates now, but they don't use the interest rates of this month, and they don't even use the interest rates of this year. They'll use the interest rates of November of the prior year, the year prior to your benefit commencement date, to calculate your lump sum. So for instance, here in 2024, if you retire and commence your benefit in this year, you're going to be seeing the November 2023 interest rates to calculate your lump sum. If you were to retire this year but wait to take your pension, assuming you were qualified to do that, it's possible you could get a more favorable or less favorable interest rate. In other words, a bigger or smaller lump sum. So it's very important to understand the timing of your retirement, the timing of your commencement date, and the interest rates associated with those different dates. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this slide here. We're looking at the top of this table, the April interest rates. These are the most available or the most recently available interest rates that affect AT&T pensions. Now, AT&T doesn't look at April rates, but we like to track these rates as we get closer to November to have an indication whether or not our clients' lump sums are going to be going up or down going into the next year. Many of our clients that are still working will actually use this information to pick a retirement date. For example, right now, interest rates have gone down since last November. Now, to actually benefit from that, however, you would have to either defer your retirement date or defer your commencement date into next year, assuming that these rates stay lower once we get to November of 2024. So we'll be watching these closely as we approach the end of the year, and we can give a good recommendation to our clients whether or not it's going to make sense to retire this year and take current interest rates to produce a higher lump sum payout, or what it appears is that it'll be the opposite, that interest rates, if they stay lower than last November, lump sums should be going up into the next calendar year, and we should see our clients receiving more lump sum money, and maybe a reason to either defer your retirement date or at least defer your commencement date. If you, let's say you were surplus and you didn't get to choose your retirement date, there could still be some arguments to wait to take your pension to get a higher payout. Keep in mind, however, there is an opportunity cost to waiting to take your lump sum, and that's the interest you could otherwise be earning on that money while you waited, while that money was stuck inside the pension plan. And now that interest rates have gone up, fixed income investments are paying higher rates than they have in close to 15 years. So things like CDs, bonds, money market accounts, that opportunity cost is higher than it's been in a long time, meaning that there's more of an incentive for us to get our money as quickly as possible. For instance, if you have $1 million lump sum and you expect to be able to earn 5% on a CD, for example, that's $50,000 a year in interest that we would be foregoing or giving up by leaving that pension in the plan and not rolling it over to an IRA, for example, and investing in something that's relatively safe and earning a pretty decent rate of interest now. These interest rates have gone up substantially in just the last 3 years, which is producing lower lump sums. but we are starting to see them level off, and they've even come down since last November. So if you're somebody that's a ways from retirement, we encourage people to assume higher interest rates just to be conservative in your retirement planning, and watch these closely as you get closer and closer to your retirement date so you can make good decisions to maximize what you walk away from the company with. Now, we've also seen these 3 segment rates converge in the last 10 years. The first segment interest rate, which is associated with short-term corporate bonds, was quite a bit lower than the second and third segment rate until recently. And now all these rates are about the same. In fact, the most important of these 3 rates, which is segment 2, the second segment rate, carries about 60% of the weight in this calculation. So it's substantially more relevant than segment 1 or segment 3. That's actually come down in this last year. And we follow that one the closest because of its relevance in this calculation. And we encourage you to do the same thing. We might see interest rates on the first segment rate go up, but interest rates on the second segment rate go down. And what we would take out of that is that more than likely your lump sum has gone up because of the relevance of that second segment interest rate. So keep that in mind as well. Now, we often are asked how this lump sum is calculated. And if you're on a cash balance plan, which is many people that we talk to today, especially newer employees, your lump sum is actually going to be calculated differently than somebody that's on a defined benefit plan. But most of the people that have been there for 20 plus years will be on one of the defined benefit plans, in which case rising interest rates will reduce your lump sum. And that's very important to understand which pension plan you're on. Call us if you're not sure. We'll walk you through the net benefits website and identify which pension plan you're on so we can understand the mechanics of your plan. And what they're doing for these defined benefit plans is taking the actuarial equivalent of your expected annuity payouts over your lifetime. So they use your life expectancy, meaning that the younger you are, the more the company has to give you in a lump sum, holding all other variables equal. So if you had 30 years of service and you were making $150,000 a year, and so was your coworker, same variables, but your coworker was 5 years older than you, your coworker would expect a lower lump sum because of a lower life expectancy. A lot of people don't realize that. And interest rates affect this as well, because if interest rates are higher, the company expects you to be able to earn more interest on that lump sum after you leave the company. So to make you indifferent between taking the lump sum and the annuity, assuming a certain life expectancy, they don't have to give you as much money when interest rates are higher, because you could produce a higher income payment as a result of that. This is counterintuitive to a lot of people. So we liken this to a mortgage payment. Let's say you go to the bank, your budget for a mortgage is $1,950 a month, and interest rates are at 4% for a 30-year fixed mortgage. And the bank or the lender is offering you $408,500 for a loan for the home that you're looking to buy. Well, if you go back a month later and interest rates drop to 3%, but your budget hasn't changed, the amount of money the bank is willing to lend you is actually a higher amount because interest rates are lower. So same logic with the lump sum. When interest rates go up, the lump sum goes down. When interest rates go down, the lump sum goes up. And it has to do with time value of money and present value calculations of annuity streams. Unfortunately, what we've seen at the retirement group, and I've seen this in my close to 14 years with this company, is that far too often people fail to plan for their retirement. One of the most important things to plan for. And statistically, people will spend more time in their life planning for vacations than they will for your retirement. Think of your retirement as the longest and hopefully the best vacation of your life. But unfortunately, 74% of Americans don't even have a written plan for their retirement. And not even all Americans, those over 50, which we think is unacceptable. Even before 50, you should start planning for retirement. But we bring this up because we encourage you to take advantage of our complimentary cash flow analysis, something that we're willing to do on a complimentary basis for anybody that works at AT&T. Even if you're not a client, even if you already have an advisor, we're happy to spend some time with you, because we know even if you don't become a client of ours, that you're probably going to still help us to grow our business by referring us to some of your coworkers. So please take advantage of some of these complimentary services that we have available for everybody. With that, if we have time, Sam, we are going to open it up for questions if we had any come through this week.
Thank you, Tyson. Yeah, we're just going to answer a few. We want to keep it short and respect everybody's time this afternoon. This first one, Tyson, if I have 30 years of service and I decide to take the annuity pension payout instead of the lump sum pension payout, is it possible for me to change my mind?
I guess it depends how far along in the process you are. This is something we also help our clients with, is your paperwork going through the net benefits website. So what we would recommend is, if you've already submitted your paperwork, certainly if you've already received either your annuity or lump sum, that's it. No, this is an irrevocable decision. You can't go back on this. If you have started the process of commencing your benefit, it is still possible to change your mind, and you'll see the deadlines on that when you go through that process. If you did, for example, take the lump sum, you rolled it over, and then you decide that guaranteed lifetime income is something that is of interest to you, it's possible you could use a portion of that lump sum to purchase your own annuity privately through an insurance company, which is something we also work with our clients on, to identify what percentage of their assets they might want to consider having a guaranteed lifetime stream of income to supplement Social Security. So it depends on the circumstances, but maybe is the answer to that one.
Alrighty, thank you. We're just going to answer one more. If you have 19 years of service and get a severance package and are surplus, do you lose your pension?
The answer is no. It depends, though. If you qualified for the modified Rule 75, somebody with 19 years of service might not have met that criteria, which means your pension will be reduced, irrespective of your layoff, right? So surplus situation, you're still going to get your pension. You're protected by ERISA laws, actually, on your vested benefits. But important to understand those service pension eligibility criteria, because it could mean a big increase to your benefit amount if you reach that. Not always do we have that option with the amount of downsizing that's been happening really for more than a decade at AT&T. We don't always get to pick our retirement date, unfortunately, and it would be pretty tragic. And in fact, I've seen this to a lot of people lose their job right before they reach their Mod 75 criteria. And in some cases, you can actually make an argument to get a bridge, whether it's, healthcare is no longer available for managers, but they were doing that through the MTP program, a pension bridge by going through a variety of different methods, like a leave of absence, potentially, just so you can get that increased pension payout. So that's something we would want to talk to you about as well. If you're in that situation, losing your job close to 20 years of service or close to Mod 75, let's talk about what options you might have to increase your benefits, but they certainly aren't going away. You'll get some type of a pension nonetheless.
Alrighty, Tyson, thank you. Please use the links in the chat to book an appointment with Tyson if you want to speak to him directly about your specific concerns or situation. We also do the complementary cash flow analysis, which you can have run with Tyson or one of his colleagues if you wish. Tyson, thank you so much for being here today, and we thank everybody for being here, and we hope you got something out of this, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Sam. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.